persons who started it in 1957 when I came back from England. Because at that time, the architects had a board of architects, and they actually controlled the whole building trade in this country or industry. Well, the formation I started in 1957, and there were about 20 of us. And the people that supported me were the telecoms.
I would, first of all, like to take this opportunity to congratulate the Institution of Engineers on attaining the ripe old age of 50, which is to say half a century since its first inception. 50 years is a long time, you know, no matter what yardstick you use to measure it. Especially when you take into consideration the fact that the majority of the members at the moment, majority of them, not even born yet when the institution was first established. Now, I'm sure every member of the institution, and for that matter, every engineer, cannot but feel proud of the fact that we belong to a profession that has contributed so much towards the progress and development of the country. As I was saying, it cannot be denied that the engineers are really the people who are the operators of the country's engine of growth, and thus responsible for its present stage of development. It was really a red letter day to be elected president of the 7th president of the institution, representing my branch of engineering, which is electrical engineering. After that, the turn of the electrical engineering discipline to provide their own representative to lead the institution. Today, I would like to take this opportunity of paying tribute to my predecessors, my 6 predecessors, who between them has set a very high standard in bringing the institution up and guiding it during that infancy. I knew then it was a very hard act to follow, and it's worth mentioning here, I think, in case, in fact, I know not many people realize that the first 6 presidents of the institution were actually the first Malaysian to hold the post that they were holding at that time. It cannot be denied that the engineers are really the people who are the operators of the country's engine of growth, and thus responsible for its present stage of development.
Skilled workers, same as in this country in 1950s, there was no engineers, professional engineers in this country until the engineering faculty started 1959 in this country. When you switch on the light, well, you're quite happy. When the light's not on, you always complain the engineers not doing the work. When the water is not on, you say the engineers fail. But when you turn on the water all the time, you don't realize that that water is on all the time because the engine maintain it. Same thing, the light that's on all the time. And the building that's safe is because the engineers make sure it's safe. You know, but by the time when the building fails, it's the engineer's fault. But when the building is safe, nobody bothered. You know, and you must not allow unethical person to practice their professions. That's one of the reasons why board of engineers set up to control the professions, maintain professional integrity. The engineering profession must work together for the advancement of the benefits of the country. As a professional person, we must not think in terms of ourselves alone. We must think in terms of society. We need to earn a living, but we need to think of society as a whole. For instance, environmental. We must not think in terms of keeping the light on. We must think of how we could save energy. You know?
In the past, and what happens in the future, I think goes together. That's why I like to bring forward the point that as IEM moves forward, it should also recall the past ideals on which IEM was founded. IEM was founded actually basically by the academicians there, senior government people, and in those days there were a few private practice, not that many. When we first set up, I think that was mentioned by Mr. Chiam, we wanted that all the disciplines to be under one roof. But in order to preserve this model, you have to take care of certain things. That's the reason why there was an implicit agreement that the presidency should rotate between civil, mechanical, and electrical. I think it has been largely followed. Don't ask what IEM can do for you, you ask what you can do for IEM.
We should also be more aggressive in exporting our engineering services. I believe IEM is still the largest professional organization in the country. We can become even bigger if we could attract the remaining more than 60% engineers in the country to join IEM. During my tenure as president of IEM, ASEAN Engineering Register was formalized in Manila. Our significant role was to make Malaysia, that's IEM as a secretary.
I was fortunate to be able to be involved in projects in foreign countries. The company I was associated with worked in Yemen, Iran, Sudan, Vietnam and Thailand. And one thing is very clear. Engineers have no choice but to be world class. It is not that we want to boast about world class, but it is that if we were to export our services, our skills, our expertise, we have to be world class.
We have to be more vocal and active in fighting for a more prominent role for engineers. Therefore, I would like to see IEM take the lead in this quest for change and to change the engineers from being nation builders to becoming nation movers. The world is changing and changing fast. Business as usual is no longer an option. If we cannot keep pace with change, we will become outdated and no longer needed.
We must tell the world, the general public, what engineers have done, what we have contributed. We should not only just be building the buildings, the infrastructure, but we should also be movers of policy. We must be decision makers. So we must speak with facts, present it to the policy makers so that our voices are heard.
The world is changing at an accelerating rate, and so is engineering. IEM will ensure that Malaysia's engineering capabilities will give it the edge to be the significant player not only in the ASEAN region but also globally.